Hi, BookTube. Hello, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back from my break. Thank you so much. That was lovely. And to give you a little bonus, we're going to do something special. Meg, shout out to Meg. Meg at Books Off the Beaten Path. She tagged me. She tagged me twice. And she tagged me with a tag that I'd already been tagged by Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club ages back. And I still hadn't got round to it. So for about a minute, just a minute, right, I felt a little guilty. And then I had an idea. I thought, why don't I just record two tags in one video? Yeah. I mean, I don't think that approach is going to be workable for every tag that comes along, but with these two tags, I think the answers to the questions are going to be short. And so there's time to answer more questions, isn't there? Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so the first tag is the It's Not That Bad tag. And of course, I was tagged by Meg at Books Off the Beaten Path and also Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club. And Melinda, the creator of this tag, it was a web of stories. That was her channel. She writes about this tag. She says there are a lot of things we're told we shouldn't do as readers. And honestly, those things really aren't bad. And I have to say, I think I belong to the Melinda school of philosophy in this regard. So let's look at these questions. Let's look at question one, which says, do you dog-ear your books? Well, it has happened. It has happened. Now, particular circumstances, though, if I own the book, yeah, and I have to be the owner, and if I do not have a bookmark to hand, that also is pretty rare, we'll talk about that later, then I will turn the top corner of the page over to use and to mark my place, so to speak. But let's put this in context. The kind of books I own, I really like buying old, beat up, dog-eared books, the ones where the pages are yellow and they smell a bit fusty, you know, or the spine is starting to peel at the corners. I love that. So bear in mind, many of the books I have, it's not like you'd notice if I dog-eared one of the corners. And there's something about old, beat up, well-read books. It just gives me a certain sensory pleasure. I think there's this joy in imagining just how much other people have obviously loved the book that I'm holding right there and then. I don't know, it's the connection to them somehow. It does something for me. So there you go. Okay, question two. Do you annotate your books? Yeah, it has happened. It has happened. Again, if I own a book, I do not write in library books, obviously, you know, but whether I own a paper book or a Kindle book, I like to put notes in them. If I want to study that book, then, especially if it's a paper book, I get my tin of colored pencils out, my lovely colored pencils, and they come out and play. And anyone who's watched Middlemarch Meditations and looked at those photocopies of the pages, you know exactly how that happens. Question three, do you roll covers or break spines when you read? It has happened. It has happened. Bear in mind that, I like to buy books where the spines are already broken. Sometimes I love it when a paperback is really thin and the spine has been so badly broken that you actually can't use the spine to identify the book when it's on the shelf. Although I can, and I do, identify many of my own books purely on just how damaged that spine is. So I'm sorry, a broken spine, to my mind, is evidence that a book was loved so much. The previous owner must have read it more than once, and you imagine that maybe they even loaned it out and their friends read it because it's just that badly. The spine of a secondhand paperback book, if it's really broken, isn't that as good as a 5-star book review? I don't know. You tell me. I'm going to go on to the next question. Do you listen to something while you read? Sometimes, not always. I don't have to, but if I do, I'm very picky. It has to be classical music, or it can be those binaural beat musics that are formulated for ADHD, for focus and study, or I can have ambient sounds like rain or waves, that kind of thing. I can read with the television, but it must be sport. I seem to be pre-programmed genetically to be able to ignore sports. However, drama, comedy, the news, or commercials, that's it. They destroy my ability to concentrate. Can't be in the same room with the television in those instances. Do I read in the bathroom? Not anymore. And that really just leads on to the second question, which is, do you read in water? And they say bathtub, pool, etc. I don't often go in a pool, but I used to read in the bath. I once dropped a paperback book in the bathwater, completely destroyed it, but that wasn't enough to stop me reading in the bath, because it was a lovely place to read once. And then we had our bathroom refitted about, must be about 5 years ago now. And the new bathtub was a really different shape. It was much deeper, so it was hard to fill it with enough water. You had to, it seemed wasteful to fill it up to the degree that I wanted to be able to be all covered in nice warm water. And also the sides were very perpendicular, and there was no slope. So to recline on the back of the bathtub was extremely uncomfortable. And so that ended my bathtub reading. Next question, do you DNF? Well, it has happened. It has happened, but it matters to me not to do it. It matters. So I never, I don't do this to be preachy to anybody who watches this, but this is just a personality thing with me. Whatever I do, I tend to approach in this way, okay? That is to say, if I'm thinking I might do something or get something, it doesn't matter. I do research, I take other people's opinions, maybe I sample a little bit. If it's a book, I'll sample the first pages, and I'll think about how I feel and whether I'm willing to give the necessary time. But once I've done all that preliminary stuff, once I decide I am doing something, it's an informed and a committed decision. That really matters to me. I give myself time to change my mind before I start. So I DNS books rather than DNF as much as I possibly can. Okay? Next question. Do you ever read ahead or skip to the end of a book? Yes, it has happened. Can't think of an example to explain when or why I did it, but I've definitely done both those things. Spoilers matter a little bit less to me sometimes, so I don't always worry about what I might find out if I skip ahead. That's just me. Just me. Next question. Are you book polygamous? Well, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know the answer is yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Next question. Do you own more books than bookshelf space? Yes. Yeah, are there people that don't? Are there readers, I mean serious, committed readers who don't? Actually, I do know there are. There are, and I kind of admire them. I admire that strange ability. I mean, I don't want to become like them, but I admire it. I admire people with that strange ability to keep only a few books with them and get everything out of the library, or if they buy a book, they move it on. They get rid of it somehow, but they keep themselves like a dozen books in total in their place of residence. I just don't know how they manage this, but I can't copy them, but I admire it. I admire them. And finally, okay, do you ever take a book without leaving a book at a little free library? Well, look, as far as I know, little free libraries, they're not something that exist in the UK. I'm not even sure. I've been to Canada and I don't remember seeing any, but that just might have been the fact that I didn't go where they are. I didn't know they existed. So therefore, I kind of have to skip that question. It's just not applicable. Not applicable. And then the final question, of course, is that I should tag some people. Well, I think all the channels that I watch a lot, I think they've done this tag already. But if you're watching this and you wish someone had tagged you, then look, between you and me, okay, I've tagged you, right? And if you mention my channel on the video, of course, and put a link in your description box, I get a mention and I come and I watch your video because I love doing that kind of thing. Okay, let's go on to the next tag. Okay, the second tag is called the Beautiful Books tag, and it was created by Holly Dunn Design, and again I was tagged by Meg at Books Off the Beaten Path. I've got the prompts. You're going to see the prompts in my description box, but I'm not going to go through the prompts. I don't buy books according to conventional standards of beauty in bookmaking. I don't buy books because they're beautiful as objects, and I think I've made that pretty clear, haven't I? In fact, I'm always a little nervous if someone lets me borrow a book that is clearly very beautiful and in pristine condition. I'm terrified of handling it, of manipulating it. I feel safer and more relaxed with a paperback that's already a bit worn out anyway. But I have been given a beautiful book. Georgie gave it to me. You probably met Georgie if you watched. We did a video together back in April where we looked at the Villeneuve Dune films and compared that with Frank Herbert's novel. And she had to move house a few years ago. And you know, you've always got to thin out your stuff, don't you? And she came to me and she said, would I give this book a good home? And it's down here. It's quite a size. So I'm going to lift it up to camera. Bear with me. And maybe make my camera just a bit bigger so you can really catch this. Here we go. So if I hold this up, this is the book. So it's Jewellery in the Age of Queen Victoria, published by the British Museum. See the spine? You can see how tall it is. It is over a foot tall, and I don't know how thick. And if I turn the back, because the photograph is magnificent there, that's just a brooch. It's beautiful, isn't it? And there's glossy paper on all the pages inside. Let's see if I can find another spectacular page. Here we go. Oh, you know, all the illustrations are just amazing of the pieces of jewelry, and it just goes on and on. And I was a little nervous when she first gave it to me. I thought, what am I going to do with this book? But it was so beautiful. I thought, well, it just can't go on a skip or go into a charity shop. It won't get appreciated. And it's funny, you'll remember, anyone who's followed the Middlemarch Meditations, that in Middlemarch Meditation 5, when Dorothea Brooke and Celia Brooke are looking through their late mother's jewelry, this book came in handy because it actually had a passage precisely about that scene in Middlemarch, and that's where I got most of the gemstone lore that informed my Middlemarch meditation, that video. So that's it. That is the beautiful book tag from me. What I wish, I wish someone had a beautiful bookmarks tag. Am I the only person that really loves to collect bookmarks? It can't be, right? I tell you what, I'm going to try at some point to do a whole video on that, show you some bits of my bookmark collection. Maybe I'll, if I do that, I can tag some other people, and if they happen to have bookmark collections, they can do a video or pass it on to others. It's something that I would love to see more. I haven't seen very much of. But I just want to show you a bookmark that I got. It was before I went on the break, actually. Georgie gave me this bookmark because I looked after her cat while she was away in Cornwall. And so this is a suitably marine-themed bookmark. Let me try and hold it up to the camera. It is a little mermaid. You can see there, right? And I'll have to show you with a book. Just bear with me. Here's a paperback book, right? And I am going to insert, you see the mermaid goes like that. And so when the book is closed, you just have this lovely bead, and the book, and there we go, and the bookmark itself is right in there. So that is really cool. I just thought I would show that off because, it's a tag video. You can do daft things, right? And that's it, everybody. So you're going to see me again on Thursday, November 14th, and that's going to be another Middlemarch meditation because it's time. It's time already. Until then, happy November reading, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.